Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Today we finally enter our first world, the Dwarf Woodlands. And yeah, if you wanted to know what this world was based on, it is based on the 1937 Disney movie Snow White. Laliho. Not quite as jovial as it would have been in the movie. Didn't they used to sing the hi ho, it's off to work we go? Which might have been the basis for the whole Laliho thing from Final Fantasy, because, yeah, even in Final Fantasy 1, dwarves were in fact a race of creatures in that game, so, yeah. Mixture of Disney and Final Fantasy. And even in that case, in the original Final Fantasy as well, they were working in caves, mining for jewels and crafting items for you. I believe it's also how you get one of the more powerful swords in Final Fantasy 1 as well, so... yeah, was the influence more from Snow White as opposed to more traditional Tolkien-esque fantasy of, you know, dwarves being battle-hardened warriors? Huh. Well, that's a bit of a thought, actually. I never really considered the implications, but, yeah, now that we're finally here, let's talk more about gameplay. Finishes. Again, if you build up your little combat meter during combat, you can actually use your finisher, but, of course, we can actually rename our finishers, so, of course, me, being the ever-mature person, I've decided to rename Ventus' finisher to Ass Blast! You know, on account of Ventus being a wind-based user. So, yeah. Anyway, this is me showing off dimension links, good and proper, D-links for short. And basically, this gives you access to a lot of abilities that specific characters have. In this case, we're having access to abilities that, well, Terra would have. And not specifically the shot locks, it's mainly just in terms of the command styles. So, yeah, as you can see with the little orange meter just over there, again, you build that up, and that gives you access to a finisher. When you're using D-links, you get access to a specific character's finisher, in this case, Terra. But again, if you build it up normally, as you would when playing as Ventus, see here, we now have access to Ass Blast. And that allows us to do his little spinny attack, because Ventus is nimble and swift, with no pift. But again, if you use specific commands, such as arrow commands in this case, you get access to Fever Pitch, which is a Ventus exclusive command style, which I suppose I might as well get into now. Yeah, in lieu of having more specific combat options akin to what Kingdom Hearts 2 had, yeah, with the command deck being a thing in this game, you also get access to command styles, which is basically, well, I wouldn't say some are character specific, others of which are unlocked as you progress throughout the game. Fever Pitch is Ventus' specific one, which is, you know, very swift wind-based attacks that pretty much increase the character's mobility. And of course it gives you access to a finisher, like where Ventus just slammed the ground and had little pillars of light going across the ground. It's primarily the game's way of sort of fleshing out the combat schema. And, you know, some command styles are a little bit more useful than others. I mean, it does at least add a little bit more variety to combat than you might think. Again, you get some command styles based on, you know, fire commands, some based on, you know, other specific spells like, you know, gravity or magnet or whatever. You'll see them throughout the game, and I'll point out which ones are useful and which ones aren't, but, Fever Pitch in terms of Ventus' command style is quite good, because, I mean, it's a bit more fluid than, you know, the regular command styles that you would see throughout the game, but at the same time, though, that also highlights a very specific problem, because again, as you're seeing here with Ventus' regular moveset, the game lacks the fluidity of the combat Kingdom Hearts 2 had at its base level, so comparing himself to, you know, Roxas or even Sora, yeah, the combat in this game is quite sluggish unless you're using very specific command styles. And Ventus is meant to be the fast, you know, nimble character who's meant to be fluid and free-flowing. Yeah, I don't want to start off this commentary on a negative note, but, I can't help it.
Huh? Who are you?
I'm Ventus. Call me Ven.
A diamond thief! Take cover, you fools!
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you.
You didn't? Oh, you mean you're not here for our diamonds?
That's not nice. Treating me like some kind of bad guy? I'm just trying to find a friend. His name is Terra. He's dressed kind of like me, about yay tall.
Sounds like a tall tale to me. Go on, get.
We don't know any Terra.
Please, could you come over here? I just want to talk.
Don't fall for it. Stay where you are.
All right, then we'll do this the hard way.
Yeah, that's right. Ventus is gonna kill some bitches. Honestly though, I don't remember fucking Douchey the Dwarf being that much of a dickhead in the fucking movie. Well, then again, I suppose I might as well get into that actually. Have I seen Snow White? Yes. In fact, it's honestly going right back into fucking chapter 1 of my life, because it is one of the earliest movies I've ever seen. I remember having this on video, and it's not the first movie I ever saw, mind you. That honor actually goes to the Tom and Jerry movie, so yes, I'm sorry Disney. Warner Brothers, in fact, owns my childhood. Although, given the rate of Disney in these recent years, I'll probably buy out Warner Brothers by the end of the week. Yes indeed, you know what's going to happen at some stage. But yeah, I have seen Snow White before. I haven't seen it in years, mind you, but I do have quite vivid memories of the movie, which, again, like, I mean, before I learned that the movie was made back in 1937, which is absolutely fucking crazy, man. Like, I mean, in about 10 years, well, a little over 10 years' time, this movie's gonna be, like, over a century old, but, again, watching the movie as a kid, I had absolutely no idea that it was made in the fucking, the 1930s. Like, I mean, apart from, like, maybe sound quality here and there, like, again, it honestly looks like the sort of movie that could be made today, which I suppose is a bit of a hallmark of the animation of Snow White, which not only went on to later influence the likes of Osamu Tezuka, which influenced anime, which then eventually influenced Birth by Sleep, and, you know, Kingdom Hearts as a whole, but, you know, there is also just the fact that, again, it was also really impactful in terms of the film industry as well, because I think it was a combination of both Snow White and The Wizard of Oz that, you know, proved that, you know, children's fairy tales and children's literature could make for profitable movies in terms of, you know, both animation and talkies. So again, its influence on the genre is not to be understated, and there's... oh shit, I forgot. Dope, I think it was the name of the dwarf? You know, the one that was fucking around, unable to use the pickaxe, which probably means that the rest of the dwarves just gave him like a little toy pickaxe to pretend he was doing work, in the whole sort of, I'm helping daddy sort of motif. Yeah, in terms of how they adapt Snow White though, they get a lot of the general beats across, but again, as with Birth by Sleep's multiple stories, they split that across 3 different characters. So, Ventus... well, it's kind of weird actually. I mean, Ventus does adapt the part of Snow White where, you know, she's running away from the huntsman. Who that huntsman may be, we'll just have to find out, but... yeah, Ventus pretty much adapts the part where Snow White finds the dwarves, really. Well, again, not that there was the whole, oh look, there's this anime boy in the movie, what is he doing there? You know, playing this whole game of find the dwarves, which I'll get into just a little bit. But yeah, different characters adapt different bits of the movie, and, yeah. Anyway, I guess I might as well finally get to what we're doing here. Finding the dwarves, the most tedious fucking pish minigame, because yeah, they're back from Kingdom Hearts 2, because that was fucking fun. Anyway, you have to find all the dwarves who are hiding off in different places. Some are easier to get than others, and I do kind of wish I leveled up Terra's D-Link, because I believe you also get access to Sonic Blade if you level it up to the fullest, and yeah, that is actually quite useful in coming after some of the dwarves, because, you know, considering the fact that they're hidden by boxes in a fucking Toy Story 2 kind of way, they're surprisingly nimble on their feet, and again, a bit of a problem with the combat schema is that surprisingly these boxes, despite being made out of wood and we have a fucking Keyblade, are, you know, resilient, so yeah, we basically just have to chase after them rather tediously. Fever Pitch does mitigate this to some extent, but Sonic Blade is probably going to be your best friend. Not that it's completely foolproof, mind you, because we do also have some dwarves that are, you know, context exclusive, like I can't remember the name of one specific dwarf, but one's riding the fucking, like, train thing, and as a result, you're pretty much gonna have to just try and, like, oh no, gotta wait for the cart to come back, but it'll also hit you, because look out for the fucking slow-moving minecart. And again, it's just fucking pish, really, and takes a bit longer than it otherwise really needs to. Anyway, this is Aqua's D-Link. We shot it off a little bit before, but I was too busy getting angry at dwarves. yeah, to talk about Aqua's playstyle, while Terra's very, you know, brute force, because, you know, boys are big and strong, Aqua being a girl, but what do you mean sometimes a girl? Tee-hee-hee-hee. Yeah, she's nimble and uses magics, and is a bit of a glass cannon, so again, while she can dish out punishment with powerful magic attacks, she's weak because she's a girl. Well, I mean, at least according to the gameplay style, not me. But, yeah. Aqua's magic abilities are quite handy, and it's also worth it to level up her D-Link ahead of time, because, yeah, if you level up D-Links, you also gain passive abilities from those D-Links. I can't remember what you get for Terra's ability, but again, with Aqua, you pretty much, I believe you get Auto Barrier for her first level up, again, by collecting the star-shaped wayfinders. And again, if you collect 2 star-shaped wayfinders per, you know, character battle, you then get access to their fully leveled up D-Link, which gives you auto life. Something that I will be showing in Terra's story, actually, because that's the only time I actually die in the game. Yeah, I'm as shocked as you are. I thought I was going to die a little bit a lot more than I did, but yeah. You'll be seeing Aqua's fully leveled up D-Link later on, and you do get the character profiles to change up depending on whether or not you have leveled up to its fullest extent. Like, again, you're pretty much seeing Aqua's D-Link right here, but yeah, when you see it fully leveled up, she'll pretty much go to her Keyblade armor, and as you continue on in the game, you know, getting different party members, different Disney and Final Fantasy characters to team up with you, yeah, you will also get specific changes in their profiles, so again, it is quite noticeable. And to talk about D-Links once again, I found a lot of great use out of them, not just with, you know, certain ones, but, you know, all of them, really. Again, some either give you very character-specific abilities when you get to their finisher, you know, like Aqua with Magic Volley right here. But in turn, you also get, you know, a lot of the character-specific abilities to, I can't really spoil any of them right now because we haven't gotten to them yet. But yeah, that's the star-shaped object I was talking about that levels it up to the fullest. Oh yeah, Keyblade Armor Aqua. Sick as hell, dude. But yeah, D-Links, apart from giving you passive abilities, again, it's pretty much borrowing power from your friends, and as you can see with the whole D-Link gauge right there, they're not something you can abuse forever, but again, if you're ever in a pinch, find yourself at low health and you don't have any cure spells or, you know, any potions on you, you can actually use D-Links to, you know, restore your health and get you out in a jam. Bear in mind, though, it's important to note that you can't abuse D-Links all the time, because there are some specific boss fights and encounters where D-Links just simply won't appear, so yeah, you gotta be really careful in some aspects, but again, Aqua's D-Link, rather useful, and this is the annoying piece of shit that I was talking about right here. I was thinking that using Mind Square would help, and it does, but again, this minecart is just... this minecart is fucking irritating, and yeah, another annoying thing is that you might be thinking in a similar vein to previous games that we'd have stuff like, you know, Second Chance and Leaf Bracer, or, you know, Once More or whatever to, you know, prevent us from basically having our magic attacks interrupted. It doesn't, so again, if you use a magic attack and you get interrupted by an enemy, you know, taking a fucking pot shot at you, it cancels out the attack and you have to wait for your command to reload. That is absolutely fucking bullshit. Why a fucking slow-moving minecart does so much damage that it pushes you that fucking far is fucking crap. I mean, this is already a fucking tedious minigame as it is. It adds nothing to the fucking story of both Snow White or Birth by Sleep. And it's just fucking irritating. All we want to do is ask a question of where's Terra, but these dwarves obviously know fucking nothing, so... Again, it just comes across as Ventus' visit here being a little bit pointless apart from what's coming up next, which is going to be a bit of a running theme, because Ventus' story right now is all about Barry. Where's Barry? Or rather, Terra. Where's Terra? But after that, a little bit pointless.
Come on. I'm telling you, I'm no thief.
Ha! That's what they all say. Well, we're on to you.
Fine, I get it. You want me to leave, I'll leave. Oh, but can you tell me where I can find some other people around here?
There's a castle beyond the chorus. I mean the forest.
Got it. Well, thanks.
Well, that achieved fuck all nothing. Thank you, chaps. Couldn't even give us a powerful sword, you know, help us defeat Chaos, Garland, you know, restore the 4 elemental crystals. Yes, boy, there are no elemental crystals in this world. But yes, Xehanort will be paying a visit to this world. as you will, well, as you can potentially see in Kingdom Hearts 1, because, yeah, by the time of Kingdom Hearts 1, one of the alternate cutscenes in that game actually shows him actually kidnapping Snow White, or at least Maleficent doing so. But we will be getting to her quite soon. But yes, Birth by Sleep, not content to have regular commands just simply be, we also have little action commands. So again, your jumping abilities, you know, the ability to block, is also tied to the fucking command melding system. Hoiven Maven. So, yeah, again, as you could also see with some of the abilities we got beforehand with Payback Fang, yeah, you can also add abilities towards your command deck, and... Again, I mentioned this beforehand with this being like a 5-step solution to a 1-step problem, and to be honest, it kind of remains the same here in terms of how you impact your abilities. I did mention beforehand that, you know, Leaf Bracer, Second Chance, and lots more stuff that you can access in the game. One of the more annoying facets of Birth by Sleep is that they also tie, you know, your specific abilities into the command melding system. Again, Kingdom Hearts 1 and even Kingdom Hearts 2, you usually got these abilities either by progressing with a certain part of the plot, meaning that you got them naturally as the game, you know, curves its difficulty and gives you abilities as the game requires, or by, you know, grinding and leveling up or whatever. In Birth by Sleep, on the other hand, they tied into the command melding system, because they were so fucking proud of it that they decided to have command melding also include, you know, these little crystals and item drops. And depending on what you meld these crystals and item drops with, depends on what sort of, you know, passive abilities you'll get. Again, as I mentioned beforehand, you'll have stuff like, you know, Fire, Blizzard, or Thunder Boost, which, you know, boosts your Thunder magic. Then you'll get Reload Boost, which basically makes your commands load faster. Then you'll have stuff like, you know, Combo Plus, Air Combo Plus, you know, all little stuff like that, and including stuff like, you know, Leaf Bracer, Once More, and Second Chance, which is basically the sort of thing where, you know, if you have stuff like Leaf Bracer, you don't get interrupted when you're using your Cure spell, which is absolutely fucking essential given this game's difficulty curve. And in turn, it also means that, you know, if you're in a pinch, you won't get absolutely fucking arse-raped, you know, whenever you're up against powerful enemies. And the fact that they tied in, you know, a lot of these essential, you know, buffs and power-ups to the command melding system is a little bit bullshit, because in Kingdom Hearts 1, you basically just had these abilities, you know, as you progress in the story, and you can pretty much just equip them on, done, you don't have to worry about it. Birth by Sleep, on the other hand, you do have to have these specific commands in your command deck. You have to then level them up, and only then do you finally get these commands to keep, and quite frankly, it's an exercise in tedium, and while leveling up commands isn't exactly the most painful thing ever made, it is, you know, basically a prerequisite to do something that you would have instantaneously gotten in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, so... At the end of the day, it's just a very pointless addition that just goes out of its way to justify new mechanics, which again, the command melding in and of itself, even if we didn't have the passive abilities attached, would have been just fine. Again, I like command melding when it gives us access to more powerful attacks. You're not necessarily going to be seeing it here, it'll probably be by the time we get to the next world, but... Again, the way command melding works is basically that, again, you take something like, you know, say, 2 fires, combine them together, you get Firaga. Or Fira, rather. Combine 2 Firas, get Firaga, 2 Blizzards, Blizzara, so on and so forth, but then you eventually start getting access to, you know, more powerful abilities. Like, again, a couple more Firagas, and you get stuff like Fission Firaga or Crawling Fire. Blizzard, then you get access to spells like, you know, Deep Freeze, or Glacier, or a couple of other character-exclusive spells, which I'll be getting to when we finally get to them, but that's neither here nor there in this case. Anyway, as is typical RPG tradition, let's rob these dwarves' houses and get recipes. Not for dinner, mind you, but instead command melding recipes that tell you what the fuck you're actually going to unlock. So, that's another problem I have with the command melding system. Yeah, unlike the junction system, where you can kind of tell, you know, what spells are going to do what for your stats, instead, it's a complete mystery unless you have the command melding recipes that will tell you in the menu what you're going to unlock, so that you don't end up having to, you know, repeat spells or get specific command buffs based on, you know, what specific items and synthesis materials that you gain throughout the game. So, whoopee for fucking tedium. I recommend that if you are going to do the command melding shit, then you know, just look it up online to save yourself a bit of the tedium. But even in that case, though, you also have very specific things. Like, again, if you want to get specific abilities and passive abilities from the command melding system, again, you need to know, you know, what letter of the alphabet corresponds to what sort of ability you'll get. So again, if you wanted to get something like, say, Lucky Strike, you need to make sure that your synthesis material is much something like, you know, say, A, B to K, P, or Z, or whatever. And even then, the game doesn't really tell you that specifically either, so it's basically experimenting and fucking around, which isn't really so bad when you're just trying to figure out what ability does what, you know, in terms of getting specific commands. It becomes a little bit more of a pain in the ass when you're trying to fucking, you know, go for a specific passive ability to max out your character. Anyway, there's a young woman in peril, so on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and, alright, we'll save the young maiden in distress. Hello, young lady. Here, let this gust of wind calm you down. See you later.